Good morning. I woke up about 4 o'clock this morning thinking about thieves. And so I decided to go to the Word, to Matthew 27. I woke up thinking about thieves. Yes, I did. Sounds kind of goofy, but I did. And in Matthew 27, let's start talking about the people that once they put him on the cross, kind of walking by and looking up and mocking. Isn't that something? He's up there from an earthly perspective. He's up there dying and they're mocking as he's suffering. Isn't that something? How people will mock you as you go through something. They think it's funny as you go through because they're in comfort and you're not. Isn't that something? How people can be so unmerciful, without feeling, devoid of feeling. Matthew 27. Let's start with verse 37. Verse 36, and sitting down, they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation written, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." Verse 39, and they that passed by reviled or ridiculed him, wagging their heads. Verse 40, and saying, thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, if you did that, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking or taunting him with the scribes and elders. Here are the alleged wise of the synagogues who knew the Torah, the first books of the Bible, who knew the Torah. Here are these religious folk of the time in authority mocking who they were waiting to return. He was right in front of them and they have him on the cross and they're mocking him. How much wisdom did they have? Maybe they had word knowledge, but they had no spirit knowledge, in my humble opinion. As their king and master and creator was before them. And they're mocking the king they were waiting to receive. He's right in front of them and they're mocking. Isn't that something? Now, how wise were they exactly? Anybody got any answers for that? I don't. I don't think they were very wise. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking him with the scribes and elders. He, meaning Jesus, saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. I thought belief came with faith. Verse 43, he trusted in God. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also, here are the thieves, which were crucified with him. The thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same, or the insult in his teeth. The one thief also insulting Jesus. Let's go over to Luke 23. Maybe we get a little, I think we get a little more detail about these thieves, one on one side of Jesus and one on the other. Let's go to Luke 23, Verse 33, and when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified or nailed him to a cross. They crucified him. And the malefactors, that would be the thieves or the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Have you ever had to forgive a person that misunderstood you? How difficult is that when you've done absolutely nothing wrong? And aside, I was thinking about people that are in prison this morning, especially the ones that are falsely accused. They're sitting in that place rotting, and they have done nothing, and have been brought just about to insanity and been brought to the end of themselves, and sometimes they're brought to Christ in such a situation. And can you imagine when they get to the place in His Word where it talks about forgiving those, that abuse you, forgive those that hurt you. There they are, falsely accused in prison, and it is required that they forgive. How difficult is that? What amount of strength do you have to forgive a person? And you've done nothing wrong. Oh yes, indeed. The Heavenly Father will straighten that all out. Yes, He will. He'll bring possibly wisdom to that person, to soften their heart, to have them come to you and say, I'm sorry for what I said and what I did. If they don't come, forgive them nonetheless. Free yourself of that. Free yourself of that person, because you're going to relive what they did over and over if you don't. As best as you can, forgive. That's a big deal to your Master and King, that we forgive. Luke 23 verse 35, and the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if he be Christ, the chosen of God. Verse 36, and the soldiers also mocked or ridiculed him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, If thou be the King of the Jews, save thyself. And a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew, This is the King of the Jews. And one of the malefactors or criminals which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other, here comes some wisdom, but the other answering rebuked the other, looking at the other one thief to the other, saying, Does not thou fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for what we receive the due reward of our deeds. We're up here. We deserve to be here. We did what they said that we did. But this man has done nothing amiss, nothing wrong. He hasn't done anything wrong. And he said unto Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. How many times have I said that? How many times have you said that? Father, please remember me. Remember me when I come to the end of my days. Bring me into your kingdom. Take me with you. I want to be in paradise too. Me too. I want to be there too. and roll it back. I forgive you. I forgive you. I want to be in that kingdom. Oh, yes, indeed. And he said unto Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Jesus said unto him, verily or truly, I say unto thee, here's the King of the universe, I say unto thee, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. Don't you want to hear that? And don't you, well done. Well done. Do you want to hear well done? I want to hear well done. You want to hear well done. I would like to hear those words. Verily I say unto thee, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. And it was about the 6th hour, and there was a darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent or torn in the midst. And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said thus, he gave up the ghost. You know, I'm brought back to my ex-mother-in-law and her father. He was into his 80s, and he was dying. He was in a nursing facility, and my husband and I were called at the time to be at his side, and my mother-in-law was outside the bedroom and said, are you going to be able to handle seeing him this way? And we said, yes, it's not a problem. She said, come in. And he was laying there, and we just spoke into his ear, telling him how much we loved him, that kind of thing. And my mother-in-law was kind enough to let us be there to say goodbye to him. And we left the room, Terry and I, and we drove away, and it wasn't that much longer after that he passed away. And later on, she said to us, she went up to his ear, Dad, do you see Jesus? And he smiled. And he nodded just a little bit. And then he left. They left this world. Isn't that something? I'll never forget that. Can we roll that back a little bit to when he was well? And he was kind of a grumpy Gus. His wife had passed away several years before. And I said, who's that? And they said, oh, that's Terry to Terry. And he said, that's my grandfather. Don't go in there. He's kind of grumpy. And I went in there and sat with him and got to know him. And he was just telling all these different stories. And he told me to go and get a photo album. And I got the photo album from Office Dresser, and we sat together, and he showed me pictures of his wife. And he said something to the effect, why did she have to go? Why did she have to leave me? He wasn't kind of a grumpy Gus because of missing his wife and being in a room and that sort of thing. On his birthday, he loved Patsy Cline. I came in and sang Patsy Cline, the Patsy Cline song to him. And his mother, that would be Terry's mother, or his daughter, Terry's mother, his daughter sat at the doorway opening and kind of chimed in a little bit and had this huge smile on her face. Originally a grumpy Gus, just really missing his wife. I got to know him a little bit before he passed and was given the privilege of being able to go into the room and say goodbye to him. Dad, do you see Jesus? A quiet nod and then a smile. And then he was gone. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I just wanted to step in here and say, how you doing? And talk about these thieves. And talk about forgiveness, which is so very important. You have the people that are in prison falsely accused. Those that come to Christ, as I said earlier, learn that they have to forgive even those that put them in there. People were railing and mocking our King as he was on that cross, mocking the King of the universe. Forgive. Forgive. I'll see you on the next one. Love you.